um, that is... Sorry, I was just checking if the stream was on. Yes, I would like to give a word or two about how to play the neutral game with Noctis. Now, as you know, people like to meme a lot that Noctis only Ora and because the main man popularized it. Now, it's true that these two moves are very good, and I will show you how to use them properly. Besides just doing them over and over and over and over again, which obviously works against bad players, even decent players, because there are moves that are kind of hard to maneuver around. But there's much more to Noctis other than these two moves. So I want to focus on three aspects that I've jotted down here. That's the only thing that I scripted for this video. I only scripted three concepts that I want to focus on: keeping the opponent out, approaching the opponent, and getting out of the opponent's sight. Basically, if you're getting out, means if you're at this range, you want to get out to use your bigger range moves. Now, keeping out and approaching the opponent, to me, are tied together, because visually it looks like you're doing the same, but you're doing it for different purposes. So let's begin. Obviously, you know that these two moves, Ora and are very good moves. Down back 1+2 and down back 2. So down back 1+2, as you know from farther ranges, it's going to track. Well, you've seen it a million times. I don't need to explain these moves. And you know that this is a knockdown low that gives you a mix-up if they quick stand. If they quick stand, then they're gonna get hit by that, but if they stay on the ground, they have to eat this, which causes them to flip backwards. So you gotta mix up from that. If you want, you can also do wall running 1+2, and they'll block it. Unless they do a get up kick, then they'll get launched. But either way, so that's down back 2, down back 1+2. I guess I should explain it anyway. It's -16 from up close. Well, it's always -16, but it gives pushback on block. So if I go here and if I tell Noctis to block, it's going to give some pushback here. Now normally characters can't punish this. There are some characters that can punish. From farther away though, if you use this move, the pushback is so big that I think not even Noctis can punish. Actually the only move that Noctis can use, the only matchup that has this being punished from big ranges is Noctis himself. Let me attempt to demonstrate it. I don't think he did it correctly. Yeah, this is gonna be like an on-the-fly guide thing. I don't feel like putting together a elaborated video with, you know, special effects and whatnot. I think this is a subject that needs to be talked about too, not just given some written explanations and some visual effects. I want to tell stuff. There are things that I want to specifically rant a bit about, some concepts, that is. So he does a jab, yeah. So yeah, Noctis is the only one that can do that. If you play any other character, even Devil Jin, I don't think his 4-3+4 can reach. Anyway, that's for down back 1+2, right? So the way that you beat this, obviously, see, it's gonna track. It's difficult to get around, but you have to step from up close, and you have to step it ideally to the left, I guess. Left normally is Noctis' weak side, but right also works as long as you're close to him. But the key here is being close. You can step it from here. If you're here, listen. You don't eat chip damage if you block this move. The only danger here is if you block down back 2. Well, no, not if you block, if you get hit by it. So you can stand block this move, no problem, right? But try to move in quickly, so you can step it. It's difficult. I understand. It's difficult, but that's what you gotta do. But on the subject of keep out, so now you understand how to use both of these moves. Let me set him to guard. So you understand how to use both of these moves. These are hard. These are easy to understand. This move is linear, completely linear. Let me have him do that. So I'm gonna do this, and it's minus a lot on block. You can launch it. So you can even you don't even have to time your side step. You can just be side walking, and it's gonna step, and he's gonna whiff, right? So the mix-up here obviously is mid-low and sidestep or to not sidestep. No, I don't want to record anything now. Stop. To sidestep or to not sidestep. So they step, you can hit them with this. They duck, you can hit them with this. But if they stand still, then you can hit them with this. All right, but there's more to it. You should know that there's more to it than these moves. Okay, so what are these special moves that I've never seen any online Noctis before? Because the only online Noctis that I watch is the main man, and he uses Orion all the time. And well, he uses while running 1+2 sometimes as well. Noctis neutral guide equals I win. Let's try to avoid meme comments, but that's a funny comment. Pretty much, because Noctis is very good at neutral. That is true. I have to agree. I can't deny it. Noctis is very good at neutral. He's a very strong character here. But there are some other moves. So in the concept of keeping out and approaching the opponent, let's try. First, let's go with keeping out. Let's go with keeping the opponent out. So obviously, you want to stand at the range. Yeah. You don't want to let your opponent come running towards you, because running forward is quicker than backdashing, even if you backdash cancel very well. So that's a known thing, right? So as soon as the opponent is moving around and you feel that they are coming towards you, you can throw out one of those ora. You see, you like this move, don't you? You can throw it out. You can throw it out, sure, do it. But there are other options. So let's see other options. I need to mention right now. I need to mention forward 1+2. So what does this move do? You can see that it looks like you can. It looks like it goes through the opponent. It doesn't hit. You might say, "Oh, that hitbox is bad," or no. The hitbox is very good. You just need to dash properly to hit it. So you can be here. Look at this range, and it's going to hit, no problem. So what's good about this move? Well, this move, besides being safe, it's -9 on block. If you space it correctly, it's going to give you some pushback. So let's start with this move on block. On pushback on block means that they can still hit you with a jab. They're still on jab range. But, for example, if you're playing against a Leo or a character with like a sweep, they can probably still hit you with it. But see, if you backdash just once, it's going to whiff. You're at -9, and sweeps usually are slower than like a jab or something, so you won't get hit out of it. Sometimes you can time it so that you can backdash out of one of those sweeps. Let's see, forward 1+2 is a homing move, but if you're at the right range, down back 1+2 is homing anyway. Yes, that is true. Yes, that's true. But forward 1+2 has the advantage of being completely homing, and it's also a countered launcher. And it's also a lot of plus on hit. So let's see if I can show that. So I think it's plus 11 or something, or like plus 10 on hit. It's a lot of plus. It gives that backspin animation. At the wall, it's going to wall splat. And on counter hit, it's a combo. Yeah. Yeah, 4-4-1+2 is good at the wall, but we're not talking about the wall right now. So this move is just this move is good. This move use a lot of times. Use this move hella times. The only problem that you'll have with this is, you know, it's that you're close to the opponent now. You're closer to the opponent than if you are here. That is one of the problems. So this is one of the moves that you actually use to approach the opponent, but you can use it as keep out because, for example, if Lily is coming towards you and she does one of her flips or whatever, this is going to counter hit. This is one of those mitts that's going to slap her out of the air. So you can use down back 1+2 as well, but this one is faster. So you can counter hit her out of that move. And it's also going to stop people from trying to step moves like this, and even this. Like some players are good and they will dash in and do this. I've been done that in a tournament by an Elisa player. Like he dashed in. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you're like, damn, that guy did something sick. So they can do something like that. And for that, you have this. If you're close, I don't think this move is recommended because it's kind of slow. From close range, you have other options to deal with sidestepping, but those aren't relevant at this moment. Yeah, it's something staple that happens to be difficult to do. So that's why I pointed it out. Anyway, keep your opponent out with this. As soon as you see them coming in, don't let them, you know, you don't need to use moves just when people whiff. That's what I'm saying. Like you throw something out to establish that range is no. You don't step into my range, otherwise I'm going to hit you with this move. You make them block things, all right? So that's forward 1+2. Other moves. You know forward 2? Yeah, forward 2, look at the range of this move. You think this move is really, really good, don't you? You can hit him from like over here. Well, that's a little bit over max range. Max range is around here, I'd say. Okay, so you can hit him here, it's -9. But here's the deal, it's very linear. So I'll tell you why this move has limited uses in the neutral. So let's say he does this and this, right? Okay. So he's gonna throw a jab. This is hella linear. So sometimes this move is pretty janky. You see, the opponent can miss some punishes. It's pretty janky. So usually they'll want to go for some homing move or something like that. See, it's kind of hard to punish. Or they'll have to run in and do that or something. Have to run in and punish. But it's still linear. And here's the deal. If you're fighting a decent opponent, who in their right mind is going to throw out like miscellaneous moves from this range? What's gonna I mean, who's gonna do that? Nobody, right? Your opponent has to be stupid, and if your opponent is stupid, well, not necessarily stupid, just not very good. And if your opponent is not very good, then you can do whatever you want versus that opponent. And that's not the point of this tutorial, of this guide, alright? So you have forward 2, which has incredible range, but it has limited uses for being linear. And remind yourself what game you're playing. Again, try to avoid meme comments. Anyway, and if you get this blocked, you're at the opponent's mercy. You're at -9, he's going to do a mix-up on you. You don't want to be at this range with this amount of frames as Noctis. So, forward 2, like, if people end up whiffing something like a get-up kick or whatever, you'll probably have better options, but try not to use this move too much if you're fighting a decent opponent. It's linear and you're at the bad situation if you block it. And people aren't going to whiff from that huge range, alright? So don't use that move. Now, down forward 1+2. I like to use this move sometimes. It has some weaknesses in tracking, it does. So if you go this way, if you sidestep to the right, it's going to track very well. But if you go the other side to the left, it completely whiffs. It goes under the opponent's head. As you can see, like you can see from the animation, it does an arc over the opponent's head. So that's the weakness. Normally, sidestep left is Noctis' weakness. But even still, it's a good move because of its huge range. Now, if you're at this range, you'll think to yourself, why not use down back 1+2 anyway? Alright, well, you've got a point. If you're at the, like, it's a minimal range difference between down forward 1+2 and down back 1+2. They have huge range, both of them. This one gives a knockdown, and it's like, it's -9 if you get it blocked, right? It's -9 if you get it blocked. Your opponent can probably dash towards you, but you can retaliate with some sort of jab. But it gives you great pushback as well, so you can still keep the spacing. You can say the same about down back 1+2, but this is especially good at the wall. when you want something like you want to splat them against the wall, right? So this is a way to, like, say if they're at this situation, if you go in with the forward 1+2, you're at this range here. But if you go from here, like, you can trap them in the corner like this, or at the wall. And if you do this, well, not that, but if you do this, you still keep some distance, see? And you can still splat them. So it's another option that you have to mix up your keep out game, see? And it has a bit more range than down back 1+2. No, we don't have memes at this moment. We don't meme, no. We're going move by move now. We're not going to talk about parry setups. This is no Dark Souls setups now. But anyway, that's down forward 1+2. Also, if they decide to jump, like, again, Lily does a down forward 3+4, or Lars does an orbital, you have some chances of this screwing them, because this is a screw attack on airborne hit. So also, if they get up kick, you can still use it against that, against airborne kicks. I have to remember now more moves. Those are basically the moves that I use for the neutral. There are more that are also even more overlooked than these. See, up forward 1 is more of a... You need to be a little bit closer than what I want to play Noctis. The next move that I want to talk about, the next two moves actually, it's 2-2 and down 2. So you need to be a little bit closer to use this. Actually, you need to be a little bit closer to use these lows in particular. What was that move that I was gonna say again? I forgot now. I just said it, but I forgot. Oh yeah, 2-2. So the thing about 2-2, this is. I don't see Noctises using this move. They only use it in combos. So 2-2 is a way of you can intercept the opponent, but it's like, think of it as you don't get a counter hit if you hit this, right? And it's not a homing move, so it can be stepped. But on block, it will make the opponent think twice about retaliating. So here you're safe. You're at -8 or -9. It doesn't matter. But it will make the opponent think about what you're going to do next, because it has 3 follow-ups. Well, this one here is -11. It'll go over some moves if the opponent tries to retaliate. -11. This one here is a mid. It's mid. It's -14, but it intercepts the opponent's retaliation as well. I like to use this until people understand that they shouldn't duck, and they start blocking it. Even if I get punished sometimes. Like, I mix up 2-2, 2, 2-2. 2 by itself isn't safe, but I like 2-2, 2-2, 4-2. Just so people can think about it. And then when I establish that you're not supposed to duck, then I use the move that they might duck. So 2-2, 2-2, or 2-2-2. So these moves are safe. If the first high is blocked, then the second high is blocked as well. So the 2 highs jail, but they can launch you for it because they are highs. So here's the issue with them being highs. You would say, well, why would I, like, that's not a mix-up, right? There's no low in there. Why would the opponent duck? Well, if the opponent is decent, they'll want to maximize their opportunities to punish you and get damage, which means that they will try to duck this. Okay, so that's why you have the mid. But these are safe. It's good that they are safe, but they are high, so keep that in mind. Also, if you want to do the whole string, the mid that it ends with, it's -14, but it ends with the mid. So be wary about that. But basically, you want to intercept the opponent when they come towards you, or you want to use moves at a certain range so that your opponent is afraid of stepping into that range. If you're here, your opponent might be a little bit wary of Ward 2, like I said previously. So they'll start stepping this way. But then you go into this range, and basically you want your opponent to be paranoid at every range except this one, because at this one Noctis sucks. That's the idea. Well, he doesn't suck, but it's not his best range, because he lacks some defensive options that are common to Tekken characters. But basically, from around this range, around this range to this range, you want the opponent to be paranoid at all times. Now you have this move to this down 2 and down back 3. Now down back 3 tracks to the left, and it tracks a bit to both sides, but it can be stepped to the opponent's left, which is Noctis' right. Though it's difficult, it might as well be like a homing move. Almost, it's kind of like Dragunov down 2, but it tracks a little bit less. So this move is good to also approach the opponent and make him not step. It's if you want to hit the opponent with the homing move for the purpose of being homing and them not stepping in close range, you do down back 3, because well, this move is a high, but it's kind of slow, and this move is kind of slow as well. So you use down back 3, which is a 16 frame normal. I'm thinking about 2D fighting games now. It's a 16 frame low, basically. Yes. So I'll get there in a second, Heppo. By the way, for those of you who are watching and are wondering who I'm calling Heppo, it's Eat Fast Die Young. His other name is Heppo, but that doesn't matter. I was also going to talk about full crouch down 4-2. So you can see how big the range is on this low. It's also a homing move. It is +3 on hit, and it's -13, so it's a very good low. It's also a sword, so it can be parried. Down 2 cannot be parried as well, because it's a sword move. On counter hit, this gives like +1,000,000 frames. Be wary of that. Now, down 2 in particular, this move is pretty unsafe, but you have a follow-up, which is low-high. People can duck the high and launch you for it, sure, but it's like, this move even being minus frames on hit, it will make them think about the follow-up, so they don't mash after it. But normally I'd say just use down 2 as a whole. Mix up down 2 with down back 3. Basically. It's like if they want to try to low parry down back 3, then you use this move, for example. But it's okay to just throw out from time to time. It'll make the opponent throw out like a low crush, like maybe a hop kick, and it's going to make them do a mistake. You're getting ahead of yourself, Heppo. Just stop. All right. So keeping the opponent out. That's the basic idea that I have here. Well, I mean, I also have wall running 1+2. I guess I should talk about it. Wall running 1+2. Wall running 1+2 is +8 on block, I think, and it's a normal hit launcher. Natural, yeah, no, you don't need a counter hit basically. And it also, like, he jumps a bit, so you can go over some lows as well. Like, sometimes people are going to do a get up kick, and you can go over that move. So I said that keeping the opponent out and approaching the opponent are tied together. Why is that? Well, that's the next part we're going to discuss. You've seen all these moves now, but so imagine you keep doing this, you keep doing this, you keep doing this. Sure, you can drag them to the corner just by doing these moves, right? But see, now that they're paranoid about stepping into your range, they want to be careful about going in. They can't just run towards you because you're going to throw out some move that's going to launch them and get some explosive damage. Well, now you use that fear to get in yourself, right? So now you go here, and you do some lows. If you're playing at this range only, your opponent can be invincible. Because, see, they can step block. And what does this do? Step block versus Noctis does this. I'm going to show you now. So, let's simulate this. Hang on, I need to step a little bit more. See, at around this range, you can get hit sometimes by that low, but if you can step block, basically the opponent is invincible, because they can option select those options, and he's not going to get any damage unless he comes forward. That's true, but the Noctis player isn't going to get any damage either. And if they do end up blocking one of those down back twos, guessing right, well, you're going up in the air. So that's why you need sometimes to approach yourself. And you use that, hey, I'm going to hit you with this big ass move, this big ass range move. You move in to do some lows. So you need to be wary of this range right here, where you hit with down back 3, where you hit with down back 3 and full crouch down forward 2. This range right here is your approach range. So now they're scared and you boom. Okay, now it's time to do my mix-up, but don't go in too much. Don't go, oh my god, close range button mash EU gameplay. Don't do that. You can stay here, you poke, you backdash, alright? You poke, you backdash. Or you sidestep. You can do like a sidestep too, which also has pretty good range. But you basically, after you do a low, you're supposed to pick a defensive option because you're at minus frames, basically. But it also depends on how you play with your opponent. It depends also on what they are thinking at the moment, because like this isn't, you're gonna get a counter hit if they mash after this, right? But if you put into the opponent's head that you're gonna do this and then you backdash, right? They're like, okay, if I push a button now, he's going to do down 4-2 and I'm going to get whiff punished, right? So, you hit the down back 3. They don't want to get hit whiff punished by backdashing to down 4-2. So now you can do like a mini mix-up. Mental frames. You can do this, right? For example. Right? So that's an example of approaching your opponent. You can also approach, obviously, if you hit some of these moves, like if you hit one of the moves used for keep out, you can go in and do this. But basically you want to get the life lead, right? You get at this range, you get the life lead, get some pokes in, and now you get the hell out, and you go back to spamming Ora and forward 1+2, and down forward 1+2, and down back 2, and 2-2. Like that. So basically, get life lead, get the hell out. Or because you gotta frustrate the opponent into coming towards you so they can do a mistake. Basically, you don't want to stay here too long because Noctis isn't very good at this range, right? But that doesn't mean always that you have to go for big moves, right? You don't need to be going for big moves all the time. But basically that's it. So you use keep out to approach the opponent and poke him out a little bit. Like maybe they'll whiff something and you do a 1-2-2. This is a good move for whiff punishment, in my opinion, because it's like a Mishima 1-2-2 or 1-1-2. You can visually hit confirm it and get 27 damage. It's it's +1 on hit only, but it's still very good because of the damage that it does, and because it's hit confirmable too. So you just do this, and if you see that the first one hit, and the second one too, but I mean, if you see the first one hit, you're gonna do the third two anyway. Alright. So imagine that now you do that, right? You use your keep out as a way to approach your opponent, and now you approach your opponent and you're throwing out some pokes. Now, suddenly you see yourself at some situation like this, -5 or -6, but you're relatively close to the opponent and you need to escape, because Noctis isn't good at this range. So this depends on matchup to matchup, and you're going to have to understand the matchup and the character that you're facing against. But the advice I have for Noctis normally is, don't try to do any of these shenanigans. Don't try. Oh, he has defensive options. He's got the punch parry, and he's got the parry. The parries everything that is highs and mids. I don't think that's a very good idea. So I sometimes do use this move, but don't go for meme setups like 4-4-1+2 into this or this into this, because it can go bad. It can go bad. I mean, this is a bit hard to punish as well. It's -11. But it has some weird block stun that makes the opponent sometimes miss their punishes. But that doesn't matter. You're going to use proper defense when you're with Noctis to get out of the range, and just get back into your comfortable range, which is your keep out range, which is don't approach me. Get off. Don't get near me. Don't get near me. So some techniques that I have is, you play some near DOA level gameplay. But what I mean by this is, like, it's very simple. I call it DOA gameplay because it's part of the like the DOA Bible. That's some guy, I don't remember his name, but some guy wrote some DOA Bible, and the fundamentals have they're similar to close range Tekken. So I'll explain. So to check if they're actually paying attention to you and not just mashing buttons, just do some jabs on them. Your jabs are +1 on block. They don't have much range, no, but you're at this range anyway. So do some jabs, see what they do. Just see what they do with the jabs. All right. Jabs are +1, so you can keep doing jabs. If they duck, you have the down forward one. This down forward one is extremely good for a down forward one, because, well, it's not extremely good, it's very good. It's not extremely good because it's not like, it's not hit confirmable, natural combo or whatever. But this is +7 on hit, if I'm not mistaken, and -1 on block, and it's got good range for a down forward one. It's very good. Use this. So you use this, and you get the frame advantage. Now, with the frame advantage, you can do a mix-up, sure. You can do, okay, I'm going to do a throw now, or I'm going to do a low now. But you can also use the frame advantage to run away, or sidestep. But using the frame advantage to run away is also a pretty interesting option, because obviously the Noctis player wants to be at this range. And when you do this, you give up your turn to do this. Now, if your opponent starts catching up to that, they're going to push a button after that, right? Well, you're at +7. You're going to counter hit them and you're going to get launched with an up forward 1, for example. See? So down forward 1 is good for that reason. Move around and try to get one of those, and then get the hell away. Right. Another way is, for example, like if you're at minus frames, don't do this many times, obviously, but down back 3 is good because it low crushes. High crushes, sorry, not low crushes. It evades highs. So you're doing this, or down forward 1, and then you do this, right? You're gonna hit this a lot of times. Down back 3 is a very good low for Noctis. But look at this distance where you are. Look at the distance, see? Even if you're close here, it gives you some pushback on hit. So you can use that, again, to run away. Now, they can still hit you with jab here, right? But, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can block after it, but because the pushback is so good, you basically have options. You are, how do I call it? How do I say? You have options available to you that are based on movement. So that's good. You can choose to move now. You can get away. So jabs or down forward 1 or down back 3 into backdash, sidestep, basically that. Now you have some strings, like for example this move. This also creates some space. Now you can be interrupted when you go for this move. I'm going to show you. We'll figure out what the exact gap is, but let's see. You can jab, let's see, 12 frames. It's gonna, okay, so it's gonna trade with 12 frames. So there's like an 11 frame gap basically. Let's see if standing 4 works. I don't think his standing 4 is 12 frames, or whatever. You can jab interrupt it basically. But if you do this, 1, 2, 2, basically, they can obviously duck the hit, and you're not going to do this on block. But you can avoid taking the last hit, the guaranteed hit. So like you can whiff punish or you can block punish with 1, 2, and then instead of taking the guaranteed damage, the 27 damage, you do 1 plus 2, and it's going to push them back a little bit far away. And you're at the good range now where you can move around or throw something out basically. So let me see if I can recap this, because it's been like, I can see the time now and it's far longer than I had expected, but sure. There are some other moves that I still want to talk about, some other notes that are left over, but let's go over real quick. So summarizing, you keep out with down back 1 plus 2, you keep out with, well, let me set him to block so he doesn't get blown away every time. You keep out with down forward 1 plus 2, those are big range moves while running 1 plus 2. Be careful because this is somewhat linear. It can be stepped, but it also has ghost hitbox. It has an area of effect hitbox from bigger ranges. You know, like Noctis sword moves. You already know how it is. So those moves and down back 2, they're the keep out moves. You basically want to stay here, don't get near me. Then if you want to go in, you can use something like a 4-1 plus 2 that gives you a lot of frame advantage or a countered launch. You can use a 2-2, also gives you good frames on hit. And even on block, it'll give you a mental frames mix-up because the opponent has to guess if you're going to do a follow-up or not. Once that is established and they respect the distance, then you run in and you do some lows to get some chip damage. You can play some normal Tekken at this point, but you chip them out so that they want to come towards you so they can get some damage so they don't lose because you have the life lead. So that's when you go and you loop again the down back 1 plus 2, the down forward 1 plus 2, the down back 2, and all those good moves. If you find yourself at this range, you can use the frame advantage from your quick pokes to get away, to get access to movement options. But if you want, you can actually continue some sort of pressure, just not for so long. Think of, you can play him a little bit similar to Kazumi, with simple pokes. You can do jab, down forward 1, down 3. You know, think of Kazumi. 1 to 2 for if you can confirm the first hits, down forward 1, down back 3, and space yourself out. I also forgot to mention that down forward 1-4 is a thing, although the second hit is a high, but it's there. If they do decide to retaliate at this -1, you also have this to make them wary. I'm not going into detail into his other options like this, because this is also a good move, or sidestep too. I'm not going to go into detail about the whole move set, but or back to. I'm not going to talk about those. It's just the neutral part that's important. But I didn't mention now down forward 2 as a whiff punish, because sometimes you can go a bit crazy if they come towards you. If you get the timing right, you can get them with the down forward 2, and it's going to piss them off really, really badly. It's going to throw them off their game. But normally, I didn't mention this move because I didn't want you to use this as a keep out. But I mean, it's true, yeah, it's lunge punishable, and sometimes you have to throw out something crazy for the opponent to be careful about you, and sometimes you can even do something like this, right? You can roll towards them and go, oh, it's crazy, it's a roll, it goes all the way from here, and you have access to this, and you can full crouch, and sometimes you can do this, it's a power crush, and you do this. But that's not really, you do that from time to time. But yeah, obviously you have down for 2 to whiff punish from ranges, and you use that. You use the down for 2 as a means of escaping with your movement options. You backdash, and they do something. They get whiff punished. They're launched into the air, and you can also use that to continue the pressure. But there's one more final move that I want to talk about. It's obviously the unblockable, the best move in the game, because it has unlimited range and it kills everybody. I'm kidding. It's not the unblockable. It's 4-3-1. It's 4-3-2. What this move does is it creates a mix-up. Both while standing 3-2 and 4-3-2 are good. You can see they're kind of slow, but they work because they're slow, according to what Chanel told me. But 4-3-2, you can hit confirm it. You can see them getting hit, but this is good for whiff punishment, by the way. You can see them getting hit, and it's 39 damage, pretty good. It has pretty good range, and it's not as unsafe as a down 4-2, and it's also a mid. So, you see, it's also, you know, it's good. If they do decide to hold back, I'm gonna show you. Hold down, sorry. So, this. So you can see they can do that. So when that happens, that's not guaranteed. They can escape that. See? But there's a way around it. So they do that, and you're gonna see what happens. That's a pickup. See? So either way, they're screwed if they get hit by that. It gives you access to a mix-up, sure, but you know, most of the times they're going to get whiff punished by this anyway. That was the last of the moves that I wanted to talk about. You saw that I also mentioned briefly up forward 1 because of the counter hit, you know, after for example that, or you know, that. But that's more of a counter hit tool. I don't think it's really part of the neutral. Well, at least the one that I wanted to explain. But I hope that after watching this long ass video, maybe I should have made a, maybe I could go back and make a smaller one. Oh, whatever. There was a lot of stuff that I could that I wanted to talk about. Maybe I repeated myself in some things, and that made the length. It made the guide lengthy. But still, I hope that now you understand that Noctis has more than 2 moves. He's not just like a ora, you know? He's more than that. He's got... I like this character a lot because it lets you play at various ranges, and it lets you do a lot of things from different ranges. So you don't use only 2 moves, even though those 2 moves are very good. Hope I got the point across. Maybe I can do a smaller guide where I explain more briefly each option. And I don't insist on so many things, but for now that's gonna be it. You tell me in the video comments if anybody decides to watch the whole thing or not. You tell me, maybe somebody won't even watch and will say, hey, maybe you should have done a smaller guide. Sure, yeah, I understand that, but whatever. I'll do it this time like this, and if anybody fucking decides to tell me about it, because I don't even know if people watch my stuff anyway, my things anyway, then I might put some effort into a better explained and more compact guide. But for now, this is it. So GG's. Ora! Ora!